I never thought something like this could happen to me. I'm not the kind of man things happen to. I work at a hardware store. I wake up early. I drink my coffee black. I go to bed at 10. My life is quiet. It has always been quiet. And for a long time, I thought quiet was the same as safe. I know better now. My name doesn't matter. What matters is Marcus, my brother, my older brother. He was 3 years older than me and about 10 times calmer. That was always the thing about Marcus. He never raised his voice, never started trouble, never called you back late or showed up to something drunk or caused a scene at family dinners. He was just steady, like a rock sitting in a field. You don't notice how much you depend on something being there until one day you drive past and the field is empty. Marcus died on a Tuesday night in November, Route 9, about 11 miles outside of town. Wet road. No other cars. The police report said his car had gone off the shoulder and hit a tree. The impact wasn't even that bad. What killed him was what happened after. They think he got out to check the damage. Something under the car gave way while he was crouched down. He was pinned. Alone. In the rain. On a dark road at night. He was found the next morning by a man driving to work. I went to the funeral. I stood in the second row because our father was in the first row and we don't talk. The casket was closed. Marcus had a cracked old Samsung phone, the kind nobody uses anymore. He'd had it for years and refused to upgrade. Our aunt asked if it could go in the casket with him. She said Marcus always had that phone in his hand. It felt wrong to bury him without it. So they put it in, right there with him. I watched them close the casket. I watched them carry it out. I went home and sat on my couch for 4 hours without turning on a single light. That was 3 months before the first voicemail. Life moves. That's what people tell you. It doesn't stop. It doesn't slow down. It just keeps going, and eventually you move with it whether you want to or not. By February, I was back at the store. Back to my routine. Coffee, work, dinner, sleep. I didn't talk about Marcus much. There wasn't anyone to talk to. I live alone. I've lived alone for 6 years. The first voicemail came on a Thursday, February 14th, 2:11 in the morning. I was asleep. I didn't hear my phone ring. I found it when I woke up for work. Just a notification. One new voicemail. Unknown number. I almost didn't listen to it. I get those sometimes. Spam calls. Wrong numbers. It without even playing it. Something stopped me. I don't know what. Maybe nothing. Maybe something. I pressed play on my way to the kitchen. Static. Long and hissing, like an old radio that can't find a station. Then something underneath the static. Soft. I turned up the volume, pressed the phone closer to my ear. It sounded like breathing. Slow and even. Then it cut out. That was the whole voicemail. 31 seconds. I put my phone down and made my coffee. I told myself it was a wrong number. I told myself someone had pocket dialed me in the middle of the night. I told myself it meant nothing. And by the time I got to work that morning, I mostly believed it. 2 nights later, another one. Same unknown number. 2:47 a.m. Again I was asleep. Again I found it in the morning. This one was longer, almost a minute. More static, but deeper this time. And then a sound that made me stop walking. I was in the hallway between the kitchen and the bathroom when I heard it. I stopped moving completely. I stood there in my socks on the cold floor and I played that section again. There was a sound in the static. Small. Quiet. The kind of thing you'd miss if you weren't paying attention. It was someone clearing their throat. Not a random noise. not feedback, a specific sound. The kind of small thing a person does before they start talking. The kind of thing Marcus did. Every single time. Before every phone call. Before every conversation. That little sound first, like he was clearing the way for his words. I told myself I was wrong. I told myself I was hearing what I wanted to hear because I missed him. I told myself grief does things to people's minds. But I checked the number. I don't know exactly when I got that cold feeling. Maybe when I first saw the digits. Maybe when my brain started filling them in before I finished reading. Marcus's number. The exact number I had saved under his name in my contacts for 11 years. That number. The number that was supposed to be sitting 6 feet underground in the pocket of a dead man. I called it. The automated voice was flat and calm. The number you have dialed is not in service. Please check the number and try again. I tried 3 more times. Same message each time. I went to work. I didn't tell anyone. What would I say? I stood behind the counter at the hardware store all day, and I helped a woman find the right size drill bit, and I helped an old man pick out weather stripping for his back door, and I went through all of it like a normal person. Inside, I was somewhere else entirely. I told myself the phone company had reassigned the number. It happens. A person dies, the plan gets canceled, the number gets recycled, and eventually it goes to someone else. The new person probably didn't even know they'd been accidentally calling strangers in the middle of the night. It was a coincidence. Numbers get reused, that's all. That's what I told myself. The voicemails kept coming. 1 every night, always between 2 and 3 in the morning. Always the same unknown number. Always static first, then something underneath it. By the 5th one, I stopped trying to explain it away. I just started writing things down. On a Sunday night in late February, I sat at my kitchen table with a notepad and I played all 5 voicemails back to back. I had the volume all the way up. The house was completely quiet. No TV, no radio. Just me and the phone and whatever was on those recordings. I wrote down everything I heard. Voicemail 1. Breathing. Slow. Even. 31 seconds. Voicemail 2. Static. Then the throat clearing. Then nothing. 58 seconds. Voicemail 3. Longer static. Then a sound I had to replay 6 times before I was sure. Wind. Or something that sounded like wind moving fast. Or maybe a road. The sound a road makes when you're standing beside it in the dark and cars are passing at speed. But no cars. Just the road sound. 44 seconds. Voicemail 4. Harder to describe. Like the static was thinner. Like something was closer to the surface of it. No clear sounds. Just a feeling. A heavy feeling. I know that sounds like nothing. I'm just telling you what I heard. 39 seconds. Voicemail 5. This one made me put my pen down. A word. One word. Buried in the static, but there. I played it 9 times. I sat with my eyes closed and my hand flat on the table, and I just listened. Every time. It sounded like home. Just that one word. Quiet. Not desperate, not scared, just flat. Like a man saying the most ordinary word in the world. Home. I didn't sleep that night. The 6th voicemail arrived 2 nights later. I was awake for it this time. I had been sleeping badly since the 5th one. I heard my phone go off at 2:16 a.m., and I lay there in the dark staring at the ceiling for a full minute before I reached for it. The 6th one was different. No static at the start, just sound. The sound of rain. Heavy rain on metal. Like rain hitting the hood of a car. And wind, real wind, moving and shifting. And underneath all of it, a low sound I couldn't identify, a wet sound, like something pressing against something else in the rain. I played it twice. Then I put my phone face down on the nightstand, and I lay in the dark until morning came. The next day I got in my truck and I drove out to Route 9. I don't know exactly what I was looking for, I just needed to go. I parked on the shoulder about 30 yards from the memorial. Faded plastic flowers, a small white cross with Marcus's name written in black marker. Some of the letters had run in the rain. I stood there for a while. Cars passed. Nobody slowed down. Then I looked at the tree Marcus had hit. There was damage high up where the car had struck, bark stripped away, a pale scar in the wood. I'd seen that the first time I'd come out here, right after the accident. But there was something else, lower down, much lower, almost at knee level. I crouched down and looked at it. A number. Carved into the bark. Scratched, really. Not deep. Not like someone had used a knife. More like someone had done it with a fingernail. Or a key. Over and over in the same spot until it cut through. 14. Just that. No other marks around it. No initials, no date. Just the number 14 scratched into the bark of that tree down low where nobody would see it unless they were crouching in the grass looking closely. I pressed my finger against it. The wood was smooth inside the grooves. It hadn't been done recently. I drove home and I didn't eat dinner. I sat in my chair and I thought about that number for a long time. 14. I didn't know what it meant. I still don't know for certain. But by that point, the voicemails had been coming every night. 6 so far. 8 more to go. They came every night without missing one. Voicemails 7, 8, 9. The static was getting thinner each time, like whatever was on the other side of it was getting closer to the surface, like the signal was improving. Each one was a little clearer than the last, longer, more sound, more of something I was starting to recognize and couldn't allow myself to recognize. By voicemail 10, I stopped fighting it. It was Marcus's voice. I know my brother's voice. I grew up with that voice. I heard it at every Christmas table and every birthday phone call and every argument we ever had, and every time he called just to check in. I know the way he breathed between sentences. I know the slight flatness in his vowels. I know the way his voice sits in the low register, never going too high, never rushing. That was his voice in those recordings. I sat at my kitchen table with my notepad and my pen, and I wrote down what I heard. He was saying something. The same thing across multiple voicemails, getting clearer each time. By voicemail 11, I had most of it. You didn't check. You didn't check. I put my pen down. I sat there for a long time. The kitchen light buzzed above me. Outside, the wind was moving the trees around. You didn't check. I thought about the night Marcus died. A Tuesday in November. I'd been home all evening. Tired. It had been a long week at work. I remember lying on my couch watching something on television and not really watching it. Just existing. Just being tired. My phone rang at 11 p.m. I looked at the screen. Marcus. I didn't answer. I was tired. I told myself I'd call him back in the morning. It wasn't unusual for us to miss each other's calls. We always called back. There was no reason that night should have been different. I put the phone face down and went to sleep. Marcus was dead by midnight. I didn't sleep at all the night after voicemail 11. I sat up until the sun came. Then I went to work and came home and sat up again. I kept thinking about that call, the one I didn't answer. I kept seeing my phone on the couch with Marcus's name on the screen and me just turning it over. Voicemail 12 came. 2:09 a.m. His voice was clearer than ever, almost no static now. Just his voice in the room with me, like he was standing in the corner of the kitchen, talking at normal volume. The same sentence. You didn't check. You didn't check. I started to think differently about those words. At first, I thought he meant check on him, check in, that I should have called back. And maybe that's part of it. But the word check, it kept turning over in my mind. Check. Not come, not call. Check. Marcus had texted me that night too. I hadn't remembered that. Not until voicemail 12. Not until I was sitting in my kitchen at 2 in the morning with my brother's voice in my ear saying, "You didn't check." And something loosened in my memory, and I remembered the text. A text I'd seen the next morning, and then the police were calling, and everything fell apart, and I never thought about that text again. I dug up the old messages. I don't delete threads. I never have. I scrolled back through months of silence until I found them. Our last conversation. Small, ordinary things. Can you grab milk sometime this week? Yeah, I'll get it Thursday. Did you watch the game? No, I missed it. And then the last one. Sent at 10:53 p.m. on the night he died. Hey, can you come to Route 9? My car died. It's raining. I don't want to call a tow. I sat there and read that text over and over again. The timestamp, 10:53. He'd called me 7 minutes later at 11 p.m. I didn't answer. He'd already texted. He was already out there. He was on the side of Route 9 in the rain asking me to come. I was asleep on my couch. He waited. In the rain. In the dark. He waited for me and I never came, and at some point he must have crouched down under the car to check something, and the car shifted, and that was it. That was how my brother died. Waiting for me on the side of a road I could have been on in 20 minutes if I'd just picked up the phone. You didn't check. He didn't mean check on him in general. He meant check your phone, check your messages, check on me. I was right there. I texted you. I called you. I was right there and you didn't check. I don't know how long I sat at that table. I didn't cry. I want to be clear about that. I didn't cry. I just sat. There's a kind of feeling that goes past crying, that sits below it, like something settling into permanent position inside your chest. That's what I felt. And I felt it for a long time. Voicemail 13. 2:22 a.m. March 6th. No static. None at all. Just his voice, coming in clear and close like he was in the same room. Calm. Not angry. Marcus was never angry. That wasn't how he worked. He was just flat. Even. The way he always was. He said 4 words. You were supposed to come. I played it once. Just once. I set my phone down on the table and I put my hands flat on the wood and I breathed and I didn't play it again. You were supposed to come. I know, Marcus. I know. I know I was supposed to come. I know you texted me. I know you called. I know you were out there in the rain on that dark road waiting, and I was asleep on my couch with the TV on, and I didn't come. I know. I have known since the morning I woke up and found your text, and then 30 seconds later my phone was ringing, and it was a number I didn't recognize and a voice I didn't know, telling me they'd found a man on Route 9. I know I was supposed to come. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't. But I didn't say any of that out loud. I just sat there with my hands on the table in the quiet house. One more voicemail. The tree had said 14. I knew there was one more coming. I didn't sleep at all that night, or the night after. I went through the days on nothing. People at the store talked to me and I talked back, and I have no memory of any of it. I was somewhere else. March 8th, 2:14 a.m. The 14th voicemail. My phone went off and I was already awake in the dark. I reached for it. Unknown number. The number. Marcus's number. I played it. Breathing. long and slow. The same breathing from the very first voicemail, like we had come all the way around to the beginning again. That slow, even sound, in and out, in and out. Calm, not distressed, just present. Then it stopped. Silence. Not static, not interference, just silence, clean and complete. And then a knock. I need you to understand what I mean when I say this. I need you to understand that I was sitting on my bed in my bedroom, which is at the back of my house. My front door is at the other end of the hallway. There was no one outside. It was 2 in the morning, and I had been awake, and the house had been completely silent, and there was no car in the driveway, and no sound of footsteps on the porch. The knock came from inside the front door. Not on the front door. Not someone standing on the porch and knocking on the outside. From the inside. 3 knocks. Even. Unhurried. The way you knock when you're not in a hurry. The way you knock when you live somewhere and you're letting someone know you're there. I sat on the edge of my bed and I did not move for what felt like a very long time. Then I got up. I walked down the hallway. The floor was cold under my feet. The light above the stove was on in the kitchen, and it put a thin yellow light into the hallway. I walked to the front door, and I stood in front of it for a moment. Then I reached out and turned the handle and pulled it open. Cold air. Dark yard. The porch light was off. I could see the driveway empty and gray in the moonlight. The trees at the edge of the yard moving slowly. No car, no shape, no shadow. Nothing on the porch, nothing in the yard. Just the cold and the dark and the sound of wind in the trees. I stood there for a while. A long while. The cold came in around me. I looked out at the empty yard and thought about my brother waiting on the side of Route 9 in the rain, looking at his phone. I thought about him watching the road for headlights that never came. I thought about the last thing he probably did, which was try to fix the problem himself, because that was Marcus. That was always Marcus. He tried to handle things himself when the people he needed didn't show up. I stood in the doorway for a long time. Then I closed the door. That was the last voicemail. The number went dead after that. I've called it a few times since. Different automated message now. Number not in service. Not even a ring, just the flat voice and then silence. About 2 weeks after the 14th voicemail, I reached out to a man I know from high school. He works in audio production, does sound engineering for a studio 2 towns over. I told him I had some recordings I wanted him to look at. I didn't tell him much else. I sent him the files, all 14. He called me back 4 days later. He said the voice patterns across all 14 recordings were consistent with a single individual. Same vocal frequency range, same resonance, same breathing patterns, same throat characteristics. He said in his professional opinion, all 14 voicemails were made by the same person. Then he asked me who it was. I told him I didn't know. He said the recordings were unusual. He said there were elements in the audio he couldn't fully explain. Frequencies in the static that didn't match any standard interference pattern he'd seen. He said the way the voice quality improved across the recordings wasn't something he could account for technically. Like the source was getting closer over time. Like something was resolving. He said he'd like to analyze them further if I was willing. I told him I'd think about it. I haven't called him back. I still have all 14 voicemails saved in my phone. I haven't deleted them. I don't know why. I don't play them. I haven't played any of them since that last night. But every time I think about deleting them, I stop. I put my phone down and I don't do it. Maybe I think deleting them would be another way of not showing up. I drive past Route 9 sometimes. Not often, but sometimes the road takes me that way, and I slow down when I get near the spot. The memorial is still there. The flowers are gone. The cross is still there, but the letters have faded badly now. In another year or two, you won't be able to read his name at all. The scratch in the tree is still there too. The number 14. Low on the bark, close to the ground. The way you'd put it if you wanted someone to have to crouch down to see it. If you wanted someone to have to get close. I never told the police about the voicemails. I thought about it. I still think about it sometimes. But what would they do with 14 audio files and a disconnected number and a dead man's phone that's 6 feet underground? What report would they write? What box would they check? Some things don't have a box. I go to work. I come home. I eat dinner. I go to bed. Mostly I sleep fine now. Not always. Some nights I lie in the dark and I listen to the house and I think about that knock. 3 knocks from inside the door, even and slow. No hurry in them at all. I think Marcus just wanted me to open the door. I did this time. It was too late. I know that. Whatever it was, whatever those nights were, whatever those 14 voicemails meant, or where they came from, or how any of it is possible, I know it's over. The number is dead. The recordings sit quiet in my phone. The yard is always empty when I look. But I opened the door this time. I don't know if that counts for anything. I don't know if anything is listening, or if there's anything left to hear it. I don't know if the dead get to know things like that. I just know I opened the door. I just don't think Marcus was done talking. I think he just ran out of time.